Good Tuesday afternoon, and thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Lauren Lemanchek. Now let's get to your headlines. If you're heading out, grab a raincoat or an umbrella because we have a very wet day on tap in Minnesota, and our weather team's calling a weather impact alert day. That alert is because of possible heavy rain you could see until 7 o'clock tonight. We'll check in with the KARE 11 weather team in just a little bit for your full forecast. Happening right now, Minnesota lawmakers are still at work in St. Paul trying to iron out their differences ahead of a special session to pass a budget deal. While lawmakers said some broader budget goals were reached days ago, there are still some sticking points. Much of the negotiations have taken place behind closed doors, so it's difficult to know exactly what's being discussed. DFL lawmakers have accused Republican colleagues of stalling with renewed attempts at rolling back programs, like paid family leave. The GOP leader says her caucus isn't stalling, but rather doing the work of a divided legislature. Now remember, this is a tied House working under a power sharing agreement. When asked how this went, the leaders of both House parties had different answers.
The opportunity is to team up and work together and to kind of step out of that normal Democrat versus Republican frame. Unfortunately, some people haven't accepted that invitation.
You didn't see as many things getting passed through, but the things that needed to made their way through. But there was already bipartisan support on everything that passed from committees because it had to be, and then what you saw pass off the House floor.
The earliest lawmakers expect a special session to begin could be this Thursday or Friday, though it could push back as far as the week after Memorial Day. Lawmakers have said they could work through the weekend to reach a compromise. The governor hopes any special session he calls would be a one-day button-up vote on a bill he already knows will pass. Taking a look now at Capitol Hill today, where President Donald Trump is telling House Republicans face-to-face not to let the debate over state and local taxes, known as SALT, derail passage of his legislative agenda. That's according to a senior White House official. Now, that same official said Trump also made clear he's losing patience with the holdout factions of House Republicans and wants their yes votes. But speaking to reporters after the meeting, Trump said he never told the group he was losing patience.
I think we have unbelievable unity. I think we're going to get everything we want. And I think we're going to have a great victory, and this man has done a great job. And that was a meeting of love. Let me tell you, that was love in that room. There was no shouting. I think it was a meeting of love. There were a couple of things that we talked about specifically where some people felt a little bit one way or the other, not a big deal. And I covered them. It wasn't so much a speech. I covered certain points.
Several Republican holdouts indicated after the meeting they still weren't sold on the massive tax bill. House Republican leaders are hoping to pass the legislation, which Trump calls a, quote, big, beautiful bill, later this week and send it over to the Senate. New today, a New Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office maintenance worker has been arrested in connection to the escape of 10 inmates. The Louisiana Attorney General's office says the 33-year-old suspect faces 10 counts related to helping the inmates escape. That suspect allegedly told investigators that he shut off water to a cell so that the inmates could pull a toilet from the wall and escape. So far, 4 inmates have been recaptured in the New Orleans area, but 6 more are still on the run. The escapees face an array of charges that range from aggravated assault to murder. Some incredible video today from Oklahoma showing a dangerous rope tornado touching down in Arnett, Oklahoma. Storm chasers captured the twister as it moved across the ground for some time, throwing debris into the air. Now, this was just one of several tornadoes that were reported across Oklahoma over the weekend. At least 27 people have been killed across the country's midsection by a string of violent storms. And today, millions of Americans are bracing for more wild weather. NBC's Kathy Park is in hard-hit London, Kentucky with more.
Overnight, there were several confirmed tornadoes in Nebraska and Oklahoma, and unfortunately, portions of Kentucky are back in the bullseye again today. Here in Laurel, Kentucky, a likely EF3 tornado came through with wind speeds of more than 135 miles per hour, and everywhere you look, we're looking at massive debris fields. And today, with more bad weather on the way, the concern is what will the damaging winds do with all of this debris still on the ground. Now, yesterday we saw Volunteers pouring in from all across the country, residents coming back to their homes, salvaging what they could. But as I mentioned, there is more bad weather headed this way, and officials are urging people who are in the storm's path to basically have a game plan, find a safe space. Remember to avoid windows if you're at home, and if you have a basement, even better, head down there, because as you can see, just how damaging these twisters can be.
We had a bit of that severe weather last week, and once it passed the Wildlife Rehabilitation Center in Roseville, it got swamped. So many animals were brought in, they brought a record. Here's Gordon Severson.
We are right in the middle of the busy season here at the Wildlife Rehabilitation Center, but on Thursday they saw a record number of animals come through these doors. 262 injured animals in just one day.
And we'll start with this one.
This time of year, it's not unusual to admit nearly 200 animals in a day.
Really dehydrated. I can pick up their skin.
A lot of squirrels, rabbits, and songbirds.
One of our weight buckets.
But after the recent storms,
44.6 gram.
they're seeing nearly every animal you can think of.
We are having a very busy spring.
Senior veterinarian Agnes Hutchinson says a lot of the animals lost their dens and nests during the storms. Many of the birds were also separated from their parents.
Therefore, we see a lot of babies come in.
And some animals they don't see very often, like fawns and purple martins.
I've been here for quite a few years, and I've never had 7 adult purple martins come in at once.
Hutchinson says their box was destroyed in a storm. Of the 7, 4 survived.
All 4 of them passed flight tests. They did really well, and the client came back and got all 4 of them, and they were released back into his yard.
With severe weather season just getting started, Hutchinson is offering this advice. If you see an animal that is obviously injured, by all means, bring it in. But if there's a baby animal without a mother and they appear to be fine, give the mother some time because she may come back.
And that's what we want. We want to keep the babies with the moms.
As you can imagine, the slower time of the year is the winter time. Vets tell me on a typical day, they might see fewer than 10 animals come in on a single day walking through these doors. So a very big difference from the summer months to the winter time of year. Gordon Severson, KARE 11 News.
Looming over the president today, the ongoing war in Ukraine and stalled talks to end it. After speaking with leaders from both countries, no major breakthrough, frustrating some with the slow pace of talks. Russia thanked President Trump for playing mediator, but has not changed its current position on the war. Trump says peace talks between Russia and Ukraine will start immediately and that Pope Leo XIV has expressed interest in hosting those negotiations. But for now, Russia appears unwilling to back away from any of its demands that would lead to peace. Right now, the Minnesota Timberwolves are in Oklahoma City for Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals against the Thunder. But as tickets get snatched up, the Oklahoma City Thunder are preventing fans from buying tickets through Ticketmaster unless you live in the 5 states around that area, locking some Minnesota fans out. And as Jennifer Hoff found out, it's a tactic that's been around since before the internet.
While the players practice, fans of the Timberwolves are working hard too, finding tickets to tomorrow's Western Conference Finals.
Where am I traveling next? That was my next question. It wasn't like, am I going? Am I not going?
Cottrell Macklin loves the team but lives in Tennessee, attending nearly every road game since last year. Except this time, Ticketmaster prevented him from purchasing tickets to Game 1 against the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Go into the checkout, takes me to the next screen, and I see like a huge caution box, and it's like a message saying if you're not a resident of Oklahoma or like a couple other states that are surrounding the area, you're essentially not allowed to go.
To be clear, this is the first time you've ever seen a notification like this through Ticketmaster.
Absolutely. And it just tells me that they really want to keep everyone in house, and they just really want to have a home court advantage.
The practice, called geolocking, isn't new.
Across the top, it talks about the restrictions.
Michael Nowakowski says it doesn't work either. The longtime local ticket broker leader calling it a PR stunt any entertainer can use to prevent people from buying tickets just to resell them.
It's their tickets, so I think they can probably decide who they sell their tickets to. And quite frankly, who's going to sue them or, take them to court over not being able to buy a couple tickets to a basketball game?
He says resale sites are also reputable, and there are thousands of them with tons of tickets left.
That's a lot of tickets for Western Conference Final playoffs.
One Macklin may have to take a chance on if he wants to see his team make it to the top.
It only comes around so often.
Well, stick with us. There's more news and weather coming up after the break.